The Prime Minister of Timor Leste, Rui Maria de Araujo, had his first state visit to Indonesia this week since taking office in February this year. Indonesia Now Zilvia Iskandar had a chance to speak with him.
This is not only the first time, but the first official visit I ever made to a country after becoming Prime Minister. The agenda was to have a meeting with His Excellency Mr. President Joko Widodo, have bilateral discussions, and also a courtesy call to His Excellency the Chair of the Parliament of Indonesia, as well as tomorrow I'll also have a meeting with the Secretary General of ASEAN, who is based here in Jakarta. So these are the main focus of the visit, and indeed this is the first official visit. So
you mentioned about bilateral discussion. What kind of discussion you have about the bilateral?
We discussed a lot of things, but the focus was mainly on two issues. One, as you know, Timor Leste and Indonesia are friendly neighboring countries. We have land border and maritime border, and one of the focus of the discussion was to see how the two governments can move ahead with discussions on those issues. On the maritime border, the agreement between the two governments is that we agree to follow the international rules, and specifically in this case the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea of 1982. And on the land border, we still have two minor issues between the two countries, particularly in the enclave, where a piece of Timorese land is inside the Indonesian territory of Nusa Tenggara Timur. There are still two small parcels that have not been agreed upon, and the two governments during the bilateral discussions, and particularly His Excellency Mr. President Joko Widodo, showed the highest level commitment for us to find a solution for the land border issues this year and start talking about the maritime borders.
Okay, so more about the borders. How would you characterize the relation between Timor-Leste and Indonesia today?
Excellent, and Mr. President Joko Widodo was saying that it's not a relationship between only neighbors, only friends, but a relationship of brothers, and I would not disagree. I would not agree more than that, because we had a common past history with ups and downs, but the two countries and the two nations are now putting behind the past and then facing the future, and the relationships is excellent. I can mention some examples. In the economic area, for example, Indonesia is the biggest trading partner of Timor-Leste. A lot of Indonesian companies are now operating in Timor-Leste. There are 24 state companies of Indonesia operating in Timor-Leste, up to 500 private companies from Indonesians being established in Timor-Leste, operating there. We have, for example, up to 5,000 Timorese studying in Indonesia in several cities around the country. We also have up to 7,000 Indonesians living in Timor-Leste, so the relationship is good.
Strong relationship.
Very, very strong indeed.
The government under your leadership. What will be the major focus of your government under your leadership?
As you may already know, this government is a continuation of the previous government. In our system, every 5 years we have elections. The last election was in 2012. Prime Minister Xanana Gusmão was at that time the head of the government. He stepped down last year, and then he invited me to lead the government towards next elections. The focus is to introduce reforms in public administration, to make sure that public investment in infrastructure is done with good quality. We are also introducing a package of economic reforms and a package of fiscal reform. So those would be the main focus for the next 2 years.
I would like to ask about another topic. Indonesia has pledged to help Timor Leste to become the part of ASEAN, and so did the other countries. What is the main obstacle you face in heading to that part?
I would not say obstacle. What we are facing is a systematic approach to verify the conditions that we have to fulfill in order to become a full member. Some studies have been done in some of the important areas that Timor-Leste needs to fulfill before being accepted as a full member. Social security assessments, I think defense as well, and then socioeconomic sector assessment, and then the last one that we are expecting to be done this year is on the cultural area. So once those assessments are done, the results will be presented to the Secretariat, and then we'll be hearing from the country members. We have all the support from them, so we are doing our best to meet the minimum criteria that are established under those sectors.
During your lifetime, you are no stranger to Indonesia because you studied English literature in Satya Wacana University, and then 1 year later you studied at Sultan Ageng University in Semarang. You also went to Udayana University as well. So what does Indonesia mean to you?
Well, it would be a second home, if you like, to me. Indonesia is a big country. I have a lot of friends in Indonesia. I kind of gain my intellectual capacity by studying in Indonesia. So Indonesia means a lot. Of course, in the past, between the two nations, we had differences, but now, as I mentioned, we put the differences behind and then look forward for the future. And in terms of examples, I think Indonesia and Timor-Leste is setting a good example about reconciliation. As you know, we had a conflict for 24 years, but now it's all behind. We've reconciled, we've worked together, not only as neighbor, but also as brothers, as His Excellency Mr. President Joko Widodo had mentioned. And I think it's to me it's a mature relationship. It's people-to-people relationship, grown-up people looking at each other eye and say, hey, we are friends, we are brothers and sisters, and we can live side by side as country, as a nation. So Indonesia is very important to Timor-Leste.
Rui Maria de Araujo is Timor-Leste's 5th Prime Minister since it broke away from Indonesia in 2002. More Indonesia Now shortly will meet a community that engages people to help the poor and the needy. And visit a park where your family can learn about science and technology.